So the question I have here, as we discussed, the question, why? Why did Mike Tomlin decide to walk away from the Steelers? And generally when people leave jobs, I say, well, they didn't leave. They were forced out. They were pushed. They didn't jump. They were pushed. On this one, I don't think that's the case. Tomlin did decide to leave. So my thoughts on this, I've got Tabernacle, George Michael's Sports Machine for the OGs, and Ron Popeil. And we will combine all of these things together, and we're going to make some Kung Pao chicken is what we're going to make. Delicious. Little rice. Put that on the rice. Yum, yum to my tum-tum, right? Not bad. Not bad. All right, so Mike Tomlin, he did not walk away in this case because of the ownership in Pittsburgh shoving him out the door. Like when Pete Carroll, I remember when Pete Carroll left the Seahawks and they spun it like it was a mutual decision. No, the Seahawks didn't want Pete Carroll anymore. It wasn't a mutual decision. He just played nice. And so this is not how they roll in Western PA. It's not how they roll there. They don't do that. And so this ownership group. So what happened? After a minutes-long Maller deliberation of the available evidence, we weighed all of the evidence. And here's our verdict on the Mike Tomlin story. This was a customer-driven divorce, is what this was. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Or in this case, it was the Tabernacle Choir of Pittsburgh, PA, rhythmically chanting, "Fire Tomlin! Fire Tomlin!" Rhythmic chanting. Love my rhythmic chanting, like monks on Red Bull, rhythmically chanting. And it worked over and over every time things went wrong late in the season. Fire Tomlin! Fire Tomlin! Just like that. Like a broken jukebox. And there you go. It's on polka night because they love their polka in Pittsburgh. And eventually, even a steel beam will bend. Even a steel beam will bend. It does happen. Yeah, there you go. Oh, come on now. You haven't lived until you get some hot polka. Oh, here we go, everybody. Nope, keep it up. Pittsburgh Steelers! Yeah! Come on down! Steelers! Yeah! All right. Bradshaw, yeah. Update that song. They did actually update it. It's been like 16 years or whatever. A long time ago, they did update it. So, listen. That rhythmic chanting was the moment when the fuse met the flame and kaboom! Kaboom. I thought Tomlin would be okay with it, and he's got thick skin and all that, but he's like, hey, he decided that he didn't want to deal with it. And it's disappointing. He should have stayed. It's a bad job by him. And he looked around and he saw he has options. Rich man has options. Tomlin's rich, so he's got options. And he's like, okay, real ones. You can live the Tony Romo lifestyle where you golf all week, do no homework for your broadcast, show up, and just speak nonsense, and you get more money than the GDP of Micronesia and the Marshall Islands to do bad television. And just speak cliches. They wanted it more. Hey, Jim, both teams can win the Super Bowl. No crap. They're in the playoffs, dummy. Anyway. Just put the headset on, smile, and wink, and there you go. Easy money, man. Easy money. Hey, even I had a TV show. How hard could TV be? They gave me a TV show. Anyway, you don't have to worry about having to answer on 4th and 1, although Tomlin's the maestro of talking in these big phrases and lines and metaphors and doesn't need to really worry about actually answering any of that. And now he will not have to worry about people throwing tomatoes from the upper balcony. That will not happen. And I believe it is a mistake. Tomlin's 53 years old. In that profession, you're not that old. You're not a museum exhibit in coaching when you're 53 years old. So, like the great cyborg of years ago, the Terminator, he'll be back. He will be back. And everyone's like, oh, he's following the Sean Payton mantra. Okay, what is the Sean Payton? Well, sabbatical playbook. sabbatical playbook. That's kind of the Sean Payton thing. You don't ride off into the sunset on a golf cart. He's not doing that, so that's not happening. And a year from now, Tomlin will re-enter the market, and he'll go from an Ivy League tenured professor to a trip across the train tracks to the other side of the tracks to the hard scrabble streets to some crap bag team like the Jets, and that'll be that, right? Or the Saints, or somewhere you generally don't want to go as a coach because they usually stink, and that's where you're going to end up. And so technically the Steelers own Tomlin's rights because he had a contract and he retired. He didn't retire. He just said, I'm resigning. So it's a little complicated, but it's really not that complicated. Do you think the Steelers are going to stand in the way of Mike Tomlin coaching? And the only argument would be, well, he can't coach in the division. Well, who cares? The Ravens aren't going to hire him, and why would you want to coach the Browns or the Bengals? So you don't have to worry about that. It's just a clerical situation. That's all that is, a clerical situation, not a choke chain. It's not that. And Tomlin will have the option, if he wants, to handpick his next job, although it won't be a good job because good jobs don't open up. The only possibility I was thinking about for Tomlin that would be a good job, Andy Reid he's up there, right? Andy Reid, another bad year in Kansas City. Mahomes coming off a major injury. You can get the back half of Mahomes' prime if you're Tomlin. That would be the job I would go for. I'd be like, okay. So the Chiefs, they're going to have a middle of the pack draft pick this year because they make the playoffs. So they can improve the roster a little bit in theory. Then if they have another middling year next year, that's 2 middling years, then Andy Reid gets pushed out. They throw him off the cliff, and then Tomlin can go to Kansas City and coach Mahomes, and that would be the move I would make. And Pittsburgh, what are they going to get? They're going to get an edible arrangement of scratcher tickets. So, enjoy that. Enjoy that. Bon appetit. Bon appetit. All right, now, keeping the theme of the hour of Tomlin here. So what made Mike Tomlin, here's a question, what made Mike Tomlin special with the Steelers? So I was thinking about this. I got an angry message from Spicoli, who's a big Steeler fan. He's like, I can't believe Maller wanted Tomlin to stay. It's like he's lost his faith in me as a talk show host because I didn't bury Mike Tomlin after the Monday night game. And I look at Tomlin in a business with clowns as a guy that was like the Starbucks or McDonald's of coaching. Consistency. Now, I don't drink coffee. My wife does. You go to Starbucks. We've been to Starbucks all over the place. It's always the same. You go to McDonald's anywhere. The Big Mac tastes the same. It does. And the Steelers, if you look at the talent, it's been almost 10 years since they had a real, legit, big-time roster in Pittsburgh. And yet every year after year, Mike Tomlin, his teams almost never embarrass themselves during the regular season. They almost always overachieve based on the level of talent that they have. They rarely underachieve in the regular season. And you look at the flotsam and jetsam that they roll out, bunch of spare parts on that roster, and they haven't had a big-time quarterback in a long time. Roethlisberger sucked the last couple of years he played. People forget about that because they remember the good times and they block out the car accident, the 16-car pileup on the interstate that was Roethlisberger the last couple of years. They dragged his rotting carcass out there and played quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he was bad, and yet Tomlin was able to mold them into 9, 10, 11-win teams year after year. To me, that's real coaching. That's roll-up-your-sleeves coaching. I appreciate that in a business that has Mike McDaniel doing whatever the hell he was doing in Miami. And it's like doing a podcast about coffee beans or something while coaching the Dolphins. So Tomlin, the master polisher, polished a lot of turds in Pittsburgh, turning some junkyard rosters into playoff teams. And then, of course, in January, we all know the story. He's now tied with Marvin Lewis for playoff ineptitude. And those teams that overachieved during the regular season in Pittsburgh, they went up against elite competition in playoff games. And the Steelers, it was like a vampire at sunrise. It doesn't go well. You start sizzling, and then the team starts smoking a little bit, and you get incinerated, and that was the Steelers year after year in the playoffs, just like your favorite vampire movie. Or if you want a different analogy, how about the Jenga tower, right? The Jenga tower, and it all collapsed. Everything fell apart. Now, another question about Mike Tomlin, the hour of Mike Tomlin here on the Ben Maller Show on Fox Sports Radio. What are we going to miss about Mike Tomlin during his little coaching sabbatical from the NFL? So this one is easy. He is a staple Tomlin of the holiday season. Mike Tomlin was a mensch on the bench. A mensch on the bench. A walking, talking quote machine. And now he wasn't at the level of Jerry Jones. Jerry's in a league all by himself. He's in a different galaxy, Jerry Jones with the Dallas Cowboys. However, Mike Tomlin, while he didn't reach that circus level like they have in Jerry's world, Tomlin did feed the George Michael sports machine week after week. It was great. I mean, the man, Tomlin, was a Rolex with the microphone in a coaching profession that has a lot of Casios these days. A lot of them, right? He was smooth, shiny, debonair, and always spitting out those Tomlinisms. And whether it was the one he's most known for, the standard is the standard, which is Shakespearean with a whistle and a clipboard. Now, some of our favorites, I went back through my notes because I love Tomlin, because the sound bites. As a talk show host, I can't get enough of Tomlin. So Tomlin, after the Steelers would play a tough game, or when they would play a tough game, in the lead up to a tough game, in the lead up to a tough game, Tomlin would say, "We don't run from challenges, we run to challenges," which is, it's thick bullcrap, but I liked it. The way he said it was very convincing, and I liked it. After the Steelers would have a bad loss, he would say something along the lines, we make no excuses, we seek no comfort, we didn't play well, we didn't coach well. We had that famous drop this season about the fans in Pittsburgh when Tomlin said, "We want them to be fat and sassy and spoiled. It is our job." That was a great Tomlinism that he said, I believe it was this year. And his final night as coach of the Steelers, when they got absolutely mollywopped by the Texans in the fourth quarter, his final night, Mike Tomlin said, when you don't get it done, words are cheap. You either do or you don't. And with that, Mike Tomlin channeled Porky Pig and said, "That's all, folks." And the next day, he quit. All right, now, last word. So we have a job opening, something that hasn't happened in a while. And the question is, where do the Steelers go? Where does the Steelers' job rank among NFL coaching gigs? We'll get later on who the Steelers will likely go after. But right now, where does that job rank? There are a gazillion job openings. Well over 25% now, the jobs in the NFL. 9 gigs opened up. So, where does the Steelers' job rank? Where does it rank on the big board? Not a list, Terry in England. This is a big board. Big board. Benny's big board, not a list. Where does the Steelers' job rank among the open NFL gigs? So this is, if you go to the hotel, this is not the room near the elevator sandwiched on it's got the elevator on one side, the ice machine on the other. This is not that. This is the presidential suite with the robe and complimentary slippers.
Fancy.
Included. Yeah. They got a hot tub in the room. Okay, that's what I'm talking about here. And do they have a franchise quarterback? Hell no! They don't. That's the amazing part. Is the roster that good? No! It's not. It's like a garage sale, that roster. Right? A lot of has-beens, some nobodies, non-achievers. You got some underachievers on that team, some washed-up, overpaid players. So it's flotsam and jetsam that they have on that roster. So why is this job dynamite? Why is it dynamite? Because in Pittsburgh, the coach gets a lot of oxygen, and there's no smog. Which is weird because Pittsburgh had a big pollution problem for a long time. Anyway, you get to breathe. There's no owner hovering like a helicopter parent at a Little League baseball game. And the Rooneys, they run that place like a Ron Popeil infomercial. It's the Ronco Coach-O-Matic is what it is in Pittsburgh. Hire a coach, you plug the thing in, and you set the whatchamacallit, and you walk away. Set it and forget it. That's what they do. Simplicity. Now we'll see if that's the case once the Steelers hire the wrong coach and then start losing 10-plus games a year, and we'll see if that pattern continues. But for now, you'd say it's like going into the kitchen and you've got the pressure cooker because you want something quick, and then that's most NFL jobs, the pressure cooker, and then in Pittsburgh you got the slow cooker. You just put all the stuff in there and you set it, and you set it in the morning when you go to work, and then you come back and you got some slop that you can eat, and you
can eat this.
Yeah, low heat, long runway, all that stuff. Get the bag of groceries, and there you go. So good luck to the Steelers. And it sounds like there's a lot of talk about them hiring a college coach. I think you got to go younger, right? You want the guy to last 10-plus years. You don't want to hire a guy in his 60s, so you got to hire somebody probably in their 40s or early 50s would be the move. I remember when I was talking to Harmon in here when he was leaving, and I was like, I'm at the point now. I remember coming in here. We were across the hall talking when Tomlin got hired as coach of the Steelers. We're like, who the F's this guy? Why'd they hire him? What a boob! Because he didn't really have the resume of a head coach, and then he turned out to be great. Doesn't always work out. Sean McVay didn't have a great resume. He turned out to be good with the Rams. A lot of those guys that don't have great resumes don't turn out to be good, but there are exceptions to the